These capstone projects are very clearly done across US-based universities, the UK-based universities, Chinese universities. So that's how it is. See here, Coventry University, which is a UK university, which is one of the best in terms of automobile engineering, in terms of mechanical engineering. They are rated one of the top universities in the world. So what they have done, they have understood that there is a need for excellent research centers. So they create agroecology, water resilience, arts memory communities, the natural environment, built environment, business and society, dance, center for dance, data science, financial corporate integrity, fluid and complex systems, future transport and cities. I'll come to that first. I'll take only this and I'll explain that. Global learning, intelligent healthcare, post-digital cultures, sports, exercise and life sciences, trust, peace and social relations. This is what they have undertaken, and in all these aspects, design thinking has been brought as a focus area. Look here, because of that design thinking, they were able to come with what is called micro cab hydrogen fuel cells. So this particular car is one which is developed by Coventry University, where this is called, see, microcab.co.uk. It is which a cabled company which they have come out with. Microcabs as a project they have undertaken, and it has become a massive success in UK. Similarly, Cardia, novel human cell-based assay for assessment of cardiovascular liability, they are funded by certain organizations, and that value is stupendous, 9 crore 55 lakhs. And Coventry University has created a collaborative venture called Coventry University Cardia Limited. Here, primarily the brainstorming on these liability aspects are undertaken. And as I said, UK site autonomous car collaboration. So they are working on autonomous cars. These autonomous cars will be without drivers, and they are now doing a lot of technology based, the pedagogical interventions, which can improve journey, reduce traffic congestion, provide in-vehicle entertainment, a lot of things. Look at another university in China called Tsinghua University. This university has multiple schools, departments. Look at the number of faculty, such a huge number. See the total number of registered students. It's about 50,000. They have 3,500 teachers. And what they have done is that they have brought the industry closer to this particular university, where they have created large-scale OLED production line, alkaline soil through desulfurization of coal, big press machines, emergency aid system for production safety, which is in a specific industrial area, scientific and technological collaboration funds with regional governments, and that's also endowed to set up several R&D industrialization bases, where you are creating an inquiry process. See here, this research collaboration offices with key regions of China. They have been able to come out with a technological collaboration, accelerating partner cities innovation and transition development. This is what the Chinese of this particular university has done. Tsinghua is a publicly funded university. They are doing a lot of things in terms of joint research centers, projects, knowledge interchange, R&D commissioning, technology transfer. 149 key research institutes and 13 key state laboratories are there in that university. The faculties in humanities department received 735 projects, about 200 million yuan, and 13 national science key projects funded by the Ministry of Education. In fact, China has grown immeasurably. They are very powerful in terms of bringing in new dimensions in terms of design thinking and how they can adopt that in the education. So China invests 2.2% of GDP. We are very low, 0.6%. See here, 2.2%. And American R&D spend is almost they are closing in, and thereby they are trying to invest more into education. That's where we need to learn one aspect of the design thinking called project-based learning, which I have presented earlier. Project-based learning basically is a student-centered pedagogy where active exploration of real-world challenges and problems are understood and interaction takes place on that. For example, you see here, they work on a project that is for a period of time. It could be for a week, it could be for a semester. And therein, they are trying to solve a real-world problem answering a complex question. And what they do, they show what they learned. What they do, creating a product, which could be a public product, or they could prepare a presentation for the real audience. We in our university have done with many companies, and we understood live projects. In fact, there is one craft project which is there in government of Kerala, which the University of Kerala has taken up. We are now doing live assessment of these projects, giving them assessment, the our alternative solutions. So project-based learning enables students to develop deep content knowledge, wherein you are trying to create critical thinking, thinking differently, collaborating, creativity, and communication. So it creates, it unleashes a very creative energy among students and teachers, wherein there is a lot of student engagement, increased student engagement, and there is an improved learning which happens. So what are the project-based characteristics? Interdisciplinary, because you take a project, the project does not only look after marketing or may not look after one particular aspect. It requires multiple aspects to be brought together. For example, you will have to engage in different set of skill sets for engaging in inquiry, solution building, product construction. Similarly, it is very rigorous because you are trying to have a real world issue. So when you go into deeper learning, you try to understand what are the contents that will be brought in and how you can actually move. And it is student centered. The role of the teacher shifts from content deliverer to facilitator, to a coach, to a project manager. They work independently, the teacher providing supports. Remember one thing, it's completely student centered. Ask the students to empathize, learn, understand, and then the intervention of the teacher is only mild and not at all the time the teacher is involved, but will constantly monitor it, but will not allow the dependency of the students coming into this particular part. So that's where the objectives comes in. We are talking about knowledge and skills, autonomous learning, teamwork, self-evaluation, self-criticism. So peer-based evaluation, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity can be thought about, and it provides the students choice, and they feel like architects of their own learning journey, and improve student attitude towards education. And they will be able to, there is some concrete evidence of something which you have produced that will be there. Sometimes that can move on to being something where you can create a patent out of it. So plenty of opportunities. Students to make meaningful connection across content areas rather than a specific area. So multidisciplinary pedagogical approach is what we are now talking about. So these are the benefits. Target content, helping to increase long-term retention. And once they leave an institution, they get into the real world, they are very much ready to face the real world. That is something which is unique in this. Rather than, you're trying to teach some, for example, you look at Modigliani-Miller theory in finance, which is given, that Modigliani has revised that particular thing and come with a new theory. Now, theoretically, when you try to learn and we try to implement it in institutions like financial institutions and come with real world projects, you will be able to understand, appreciate this theory, and at the same time able to perform better in the real world. That's the difference you can see. The team of students propose and design a product based upon challenging need or intricate problem. So that will allow them to become an entrepreneur by themselves. It becomes easy for them to, like I told you earlier, we are talking about the viability of a business. We are talking about a technological feasibility. Now we are trying to bring together these two, then automatically that leads to innovation. So that's what we are trying to see here, how they can launch their own products. So implementing is important. So you start with small, well-orchestrated changes. Look at things from the student's point of view, wherein you can empathize, hold a multi-day workshop, immersive workshop, generate potential project ideas, think about assessment. That is what we need to think about project-based learning. So these are the things which you create through a questionnaire, various questions. What is the purpose of this particular project? What is that you are trying to assume? Who is your audience? And what kind of support is needed? What you need to know? How should the product be paced to maintain student momentum? How can assessment, iteration, metacognition improve student understanding? So, wherein we are trying to bring in the creative element, we are trying to bring in the extent of how they can understand this particular project and how they can, learn and overcome the challenges, and then they can produce results out of it. So that's what you need to go through the questionnaire. These are some of the things which you need to read and learn. See this point, like what scale makes the most sense for the student to work best? That is an important aspect. Similarly, is the project designed to build on student strengths? If there are certain deficiencies which are there, are we trying to address these deficiencies? What taxonomy cognitive action you are trying to think about? And is it basically in terms of analysis? Is it basically in terms of the conceptual idea? If it is a conceptual idea, how you can actually change? So there is something called as, that's what I'm going to rest of my presentation is going to be primarily on the knowledge processes and what are the design pedagogy which you can actually follow. So it's basically, if you look at a knowledge process, it's an activity type which represents a distinct way of making knowledge and also of learning. So the purpose of indicating knowledge process, the entire knowledge process, there are 8 knowledge processes. Underlying each activity is to prompt teachers to think explicitly about the most appropriate range and sequence, what can be actually learned by the students and what subject matter they are trying to learn. Please see this. This is an important diagram which addresses this knowledge process. That is, there are 8 different forms. First is experiencing the known, which already people know. So through secondary data, through books, a person goes through this particular material, collects the material, understands and learns that these are the things which I am experiencing, which is very easy for you because lecturing is enough here. Like the lecturing mode would be enough, or self-study would be more enough, or you are trying to ask them to go through and then ask questions in your classrooms, experiencing the known. Then experiencing the new, like when you start giving them activities, when you start asking them to undertake brainstorming, when you start asking them to think differently. Now there is something called as Philip 66, where you first make 66 members group, then from there you come to 6-member group, and the 6-member group will finally come with 1-member group, and that 1-member group will finally give an answer. So experiencing the known is one aspect, experiencing the new is another aspect. Then comes conceptualizing. How do you conceptualize? By naming a specific aspect. That concept, how do you understand? And that is a process which you learn very easily. And then by theorizing. So you look at externally what all are the theories available. And these theories, how you are able to imbibe and accept, and how do you actually undertake as a new pedagogical method. So conceptualizing by naming, conceptualizing by theorizing. Then comes, analyzing functionally, analyzing critically. Functionally, it is easy. Critically means you are throwing open the student to newer realms and asking them to think out of the box questions and asking why, what, when. So that's where the analyzing critically. And finally, applying them. So it appropriately applying them. So creating new models, applying creatively, coming with innovative models. Sometimes the appropriately means you are following an existing system. Creatively, you are coming with new systems. So we need to look at every stage of this and how you are going to impart this particular thing to the students is what is left out in the next slides. So we will start with the experiencing, conceptualizing, analyzing, and then we're going to apply. Look at applying first. No, sorry, not applying. We are now getting into experiencing. Now, experiencing, there are 2 things I said clearly. One is the known, another is the new. When you say the known, they reflect on their own familiar experiences. That may be limited. For example, you are asking the students to talk about pollution in the environment. probably what they know as such in which is happening in the environment, the learning which they have gone through in terms of theoretical aspects, the interest this particular candidate has, and their thinking, their visualizing perspectives is something which you'll be able to present. That's known. What is new? How to tackle pollution. They take part in something which is unfamiliar. That is experiencing. So they are immersed in new situation. They are immersed in contents. So the new is something which will pave the path for newer learning, understanding better aspects. But experiencing is a must for a student. That's why when you look at medical, when you look at engineering, you are taking into consideration the students experiencing the equipments. And in the case of medical, you are experiencing the human body. You are experiencing the equipments which will have to be adopted for a quicker resources, quicker solution to the human problems. And when you go to management area, in the management area, the candidate actually learns the real world problem, may not visit the problem, but he experiences this is what is there. He knows what is known, what is unknown, which is new, and he comes with his own solutions. That's why I said the topic is given, original knowledge is there, you create new knowledge. That is what you do through experiencing. What do you do first? Now, basically, the first thing is brainstorming. It is a way finding out ideas that learners bring out on a topic or an issue. So what they do first, they write down their initial ideas on a topic or on a post-it notes, one idea per note. Then each person present their ideas, sticking them one by one into a board close to similar ideas. I tell you one thing, during brainstorming, no questions asked. You allow everybody to speak. So you ask the students to hear their opinion. Don't interfere. Don't get into them. Ask them what is there. Then the group then works on ordering these ideas more systematically, identifying, naming the groups, grouping the ideas in circles and linking the circles with arrows, wherein you will have a clear idea, on how to move forward in that specific topic. So that's where we come across what is called doubt brainstorming. That is never ever, question people, defer judgment. So don't have a judgment, defer it. Accept all contribution, evaluate later. When you form groups, you can evaluate. Opt for original ideas. This could be unusual idea. This could be lateral thinking. The lateral thinking is something where someone will think out of the box and will come with something else. Now people will say, if you are trying to talk about, now for example, the autonomous cars project which is undertaken at Coventry University was out of a lateral thinking of unusual ideas. They were searching what is going to be the best fuel you are trying to. So you are trying to assess and find out what is the alternative fuel you are trying to address. Vast number of ideas. So narrow concepts down later. Expand by association. Closely connect each other. For example, you're talking about a fuel, you say the diesel, you're connecting with one particular set of ideas, petrol, you're connecting with another idea, hybrid, you're connecting with other ideas, electric, you're connecting with other ideas, some other sources you're trying to have other ideas. Japanese have done a study where water-based vehicle movement. So that's another aspect. So expand this particular by association. So defer judgment, art for original ideas, vast numbers of ideas are best, expand by association. That is what we call as Dow brainstorming. What do you do? First you are asking students, what do I already know? Second, you are asking, what do I need to know? Sometimes what a person has learned is not enough. So do you require to study some more new aspects? Then how will I find out? And finally, what I have learned. This is what the brainstorming and the knowledge journey takes you into. For example, when you are asked to talk about, say, one particular product, then what you know about the product you present, that becomes the first question. What do I already know? When this is presented in the group, then you understand that there are various alternatives which people are giving, multiple alternatives. So am I learning what is enough? Do I need to know something new? If I have to know something, how do I find out? That's where the new solutions will come in. Like, for example, going to an organization, learning new prototypes. Third, going to libraries. All that would help you, and you will find out. And finally, completing the process by the entire group activity, overcoming all the issues, you would have come to a stage where what I have learned. That is what the knowledge journey is about. Another one in this process is picture association. So you give a picture. Showing that picture, ask people to generate new idea. So that picture might show a problem. How do you solve the problem? Generate questions. Choose them not too closely related to the topic. Have different set of pictures that can be used to complement pictures, provoke and enhance discussion. So make people involved, students engaged. They write a list of what the picture represents, various obvious things they write. And now they can start generating questions from the image. And they use the list to generate solutions to the problems, generate new ideas. The minute they generate questions, that requires the group discussion. When you discuss with the group, that group will come with a solution. And that solution you will have to come here as alternative solutions, generate new ideas. So picture association, there is another thing we call as thematic apperception test, which also we call as a TAP, which again is similar as that of the picture association. Another one is think, pair, share. That is, you have a question and you give the question or a problem, make people silently think about it, and then put that particular person with another person. Ask that two of them to discuss that, share it. No, that is pairing. In the pair, you have one silent thinking is there, another person has silent thinking here. Both of them come together, they discuss this, and they come with some solution. Likewise, there will be multiple pairs, and then the pairs will share their learning. So, think, take few minutes to think in silence, make mental or written notes, then pair, talk about your thoughts with a neighbor or partner, compare the notes. What are the most original, convincing, most accurate ideas? Then you make yourself share these particular ideas to the entire class. I have always found this particular mechanism, the pedagogy, is more successful, and it actually follows the design thinking parameters. So think, pair, and share. Another thing you can think about is you can pose questions. Why did you have to think about this? How did? I wonder if, that means alternatives are there. When did? So why, when, how, what is already there. So what if? I wonder if. So when you are trying to come with a solution, you can think why you have taken up that particular topic for discussion, how the whole process can be taken up and maybe taken up to the next level. That from there we go to conceptualizing. From experiencing, we move to conceptualizing. Two aspects which are involved. One is by naming, another is by theorizing. By naming, the learners group things into categories, apply classifying terms, define these terms. Theory, learners make generalization using concepts what have been said. Connect it with the connect maps or theories. So there is something called as concept which you can actually think about. It's very easy to remember. Convey the concept to students by naming the topic that is being studied. So what is the concept? You just tell them this is a topic, then offer the overall concept to explain what is related to. Remember, the first two, the role of a teacher becomes important. Then noting the keywords involved with the concept, asking them to note down the keywords. Then classify characteristics about the topic. Explore examples which are available, non-examples. See whether if they fit the key concept definition, create data sets. Practice them, new examples, new data sets, tie down a definition. That is what we call as concept by conceptualizing by naming. So convey, offer, note, classify, explore, practice, and type down a definition. Another thing we can do is called as concept organizer. There is some main concepts, and in that main concept you link various ideas. The main concept is quality. To that, you are trying to connect it with the organization. They'll say internal combustion engine, there is a problem. That's an linking idea. Another one, the quality circles is becoming an idea. Likewise, you come with, I have only shown you 4, but you have multiple ideas you can come out with. So what do you do? Name the concept, put it in the circle, in the middle of the concept. This is what is. Connect it with characteristics, boxes linked to the concept with lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, could be more. Provide examples of each characteristics in different colored boxes linked to the characteristics. Thereby, you will be able to link it to the main concept. Another thing we talk about is what is called a like concept. There is something called as dissect. That's called dissect word identification strategy. What do you do? Discover the word's context by using clues in the text. Isolate prefix, assess the meaning. If there is no prefix, you leave it. Separate the suffix, say the stem or buzzword. Examine the stem by separating letters to make decoding easier. Check with someone if necessary. Try the dictionary, it's still having difficulties. Discovery, isolating, separating, saying it, examining, checking, and finally coming with an assessment. That's what we call as dissect word identification. So some words, somewhere the students are not. So for example, we talk about serendipity. What is serendipity? We talk about serendipity is accidental discovery. So if you, how do you relate to this accidental discovery? You go through this dissect process, you will know what it is. Another methodology you can adopt is called zooming in, zooming out. So you can come out with a topic, you understand what are the ideas, what from the textbook you have read, you can mention here. What is most important, least important, would not expect. Certain things which can be left out. Zoom out, similar to related ideas, and finally create a summary statement. So it is basically the one which comes out of what is called as a brainstorming techniques. So in the brainstorming, whatever you get, from there you zoom in, most important, zoom out, which is going to be the outcome of your assessment. Another one is called 3-to-1 RIQ. RIQ means recall, identify, question. Recall, identify, question. Why is it 3-to-1? See, students recall 3 facts from a particular text or experience. 3 facts. Let them identify 2 insights. Identification of insights of a text experience. What is there needed in the college? Relevance, implications. And then based on the recalling, identifying, you formulate one question. Then they present their 3-to-1 RIQ to a partner, and the partner asks clarifying questions in order to gain good understanding of other points. And it is also possible at this point to ask students to share some insights from the whole class. You are coming from a visa which we talk about reverse engineering concept. From an answer to a question, how to frame it, then the student at no point of time will never forget this particular thing. It's called 3, 2, 1, all right. Similarly, similar as that of the fishbone diagram, there is something called as cause and effect pattern organizer. This is effect, these are the causes. So cause 1, cause 2 goes to this cause 3, cause 3 in turn causes cause 5, the cause 4 will give you another aspect, and finally the effect is taken. So you can actually organize at any one point. If there is an issue, there is a problem, you can actually address that. Then another one which you do in conceptualizing, because remember, experiencing conceptualizing takes a lot of time of the teacher. One is called force field analysis, visual listing of possible forces driving or preventing changes. So positive changes, you put it on the upward arrow, and negative changes, put it in the lower arrow. And if there is no neutral, you put it in the equal arrow. So useful for determining what is driving, preventing, or slowing change. So it teaches students to think together, enhances creative thinking, helps to find a starting point from which they can take action. So you can have a driving change, you have a blocking change. If there are more driving changes and less blocking changes, that particular aspect will actually be very easy for people to follow. But if you have more number of blocking changes and less driving changes, this particular change cannot be at any point of time be. Then comes what Edward de Bono said, lateral thinking. So lateral thinking is something which is very, very important. As I said earlier, thinking out of the box is something which is going to be a important aspect as far as businesses are concerned. See, you see, just see here, we are talking about Zomato, we are talking about Swiggy, talking about Amazon. None of them actually, and excepting Amazon holds, but Zomato, Swiggy, they don't hold. You look at Inbas, there is another thing called particular company has come out, uh, you know, grocery basket, which has come out with big basket. Some of these companies don't carry an asset. These companies have thought out of the box. For example, you look at Uber, you look at the case of Ola, they are all, they don't own any vehicle, but they they thought differently and come with a newer idea. So what you do? List and describe the usual ways. Search for different unusual ways, which means think of ideas that might come from crazy. Talk to others, search the internet. Deconstruct, take something apart, work out connections, patterns, reconstruct them, put it back, and see how it actually changes, how the combinations changes, patterns changes. They are offing, doubling, slicing, dicing, stretching, shrinking, substituting a product, dissecting, combining a product, adapting, magnifying a product and reducing the product, reversing, turning upside down, inside out, separating them, blending, unpack, repack. Look out for eureka moments, means out of the box thinking. Sometimes you have eureka moments where suddenly something will actually work for you. So lateral thinking can give you something new. Another one in the conceptualizing stage is called Mars problem solving. See, Mars is magnify, adapt, reduce, substitute. So magnify means think big, adapt, include other people's ideas, reduce, think small, substitute, is this the best we can do by means of substitution? This is what, when a company like Indigo came into the market as an airliner, they did this mass problem solving and found that it is possible. Deccan Airlines came in the market similar as this particular platform. It is primarily because of the Mars platform. So think big, look at people idea, reduce it, think small, convert that big into small, and then can I substitute this in the market? So how do you magnify? Please read what is there. You can understand this. What are the stimulus questions? What are the alternatives we can think of? Finally, substituting. I'll read those things rather than the first three things. I'll read the final thing. What else could we do instead? Are there better ideas? You're flying. In the flight, they are giving you biryani, but biryani cannot be stored as it is. So what they have done, they have come out with a new innovation. That innovation is that rice will be boiled, and once you pour water at that particular time, it will start cooking, and then you can start using it. That's why reason why many a time the air hostess tells you that after 5 minutes, after 8 minutes, consume the product. So, any better idea? Can we substitute? Is there any idea? Is there other material, other ingredients, other approaches? Is there any other approaches? There are particular places involved that you can give your alternative here. Finally, come with your solution. This is what is mass problem solving, which is very good and can be implemented in the classes. Now, in the same thing, we are continuing problem solution. Problem. What is the problem? Who is having a problem? What is the problem? Why is the problem? So what are the solutions? Come out with the alternative solutions. What results are there? Look at one single end result. Each student will have to be giving one single end result. Then we will know how to actually move forward in this particular platform. See here, Scamper is another methodology, another pedagogy which you can follow. Substitute, campaign, adopt, modify, put, eliminate, reverse. Scamper. Any one product you have now, give the people, the students, the products and ask them, if for this is there a substitute? Can you combine this product with something else? Can you adopt this in a particular situation? Can you modify the product to the suit of a particular product? Can you put the product in even environment, uneven environment? If there is a possibility for eliminating this product, if at all elimination is there, what is possible? And reversing the product. Scamper is another methodology which you can put. Scenario, where you are asking people to come with alternatives. You have to build the scenarios. You can scan the horizon, look at the drivers of change, look at environment, politics, economics, culture, technology. Come with best case scenario, worst case scenario. Multiple alternatives. Then discuss with the students and see what is going to be the best scenario you can actually think of. Scenarios are now being utilized very effectively. You can ask them. For example, you tell them, we are talking about climate change. So in the climate change situation, you say that if in 2025 or 28, the temperatures across the Tamil Nadu increases by 2%, what are the issues which you will? So best case scenario, worst case scenario, give them option. Each of the area they can actually answer. Another thing, I think this will be the final one, conceptualizing. What if scenarios? Deeper understanding of the concept. For example, naming. Name the features of a food chain. What if is there? Theorizing. What if you took out one link in the chain, added another? For example, in the food chain, farmer is there. That is why Reliance worked on this what if scenario. They came out with what is called farm to fork. Means Reliance will work along with farmers, work along with the people who are buying. So it is what we call as farm to fork. So they will convert, eliminate middlemen, come out with the alternative solution, and that will be made available here. What if scenarios? That comes to analyzing. What is analyzing? Functionally, they analyze logical connection, cause and effect, structure and function. Critically, evaluate their own and other people perspectives, interest and motives. This is what you can do in analyzing. Create a story map. It is a strategy that helps students to build a framework for understanding and remembering narrative. It provides useful visual outline for analyzing narratives. So what is that you are trying to come with the story? Others' point of view, teacher's point of view, why? Then how are you going to task? Where, setting, when, mood, what happened, events of the plot, how did it end, resolution, who all are the people who are involved. This is very easily can be implemented in humanities sector, arts student teachers. I see here a number of in English teachers, humanities teachers. They can actually follow the story map and help students to build a framework for understanding, remembering narrative. So these maps provide useful visual outline, means to organize information, reinforce key elements of a narrative, provide a clear model where they can write summary, and they say they can, for the narrative, they can give a response. And finally, a story map can look like a map which the students draw freehand, include a structure such as a star. You can also do what is called cost benefit analysis. What are the costs? You write an action. For the action, if the money is involved, is the cost is involved, what are the benefits out of that? Time involved, what is the cost benefit involved? People, community, environment. That can be, when you give them this platform to work on, they will have different thinking and they'll come with an answer. I don't have to explain this to management and commerce teachers, but for the rest of the teachers, one thing you need to know what is called SWOT analysis. Similarly, you can undertake puzzle analysis, but SWOT analysis is the one which you can undertake extensively, very easily. So you look at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, ask the students to prepare that, and then discuss that particular thing in the class. And then you will move on to applying. From analyzing, we are finally moving to applying. Applying appropriately, applying creatively. So learners apply new learning, real world situation, test their validity appropriately. Creatively, they make an intervention in the world which is innovative and creative, transfer their learning to a different context. That is where applying comes in. That's where you create what is called problem solving. You create a predictable, conventional, correct solution to a problem. What is a problem? As I said earlier, where, when, who, what, why. This requires intense discussion. And then find out what are the possible solutions. This is where the how it comes. See, the same what comes here, that what is basically the trial here. Based on that, come with the result. And then go back to this particular solution. See whether the results are actually giving the solution. That's what you do, problem solving, by applying appropriately, applying creatively. And action research. So research is about finding exactly what you want out of it. Sometimes you get something unknown, you'll get something known. The outcomes are just knowledge, but there's no need to act on this knowledge. Action research, this is what you need to do. Plan, act, observe, reflect. And what you reflect, go back to plan. That is what we do in action research. That considers action research, which informs action. It's about thinking and doing. This is what is needed in design thinking process. Invention is the final one. We are trying to say, create something new. Through application, you are trying to create something new. Describe the goal, purposes, outline alternatives, build a prototype, test the prototype, go for review evaluation, and come with whether it is effective or not. I think there are 3 things we have said here. The 4th one is prediction. Said, end a story and non-fiction text having been supplied off. Ask people to predict what will be the text will offer you next. What are the most likely scenarios? Write your ending. Compare, look at the other half of the text. How was the ending? So you have one half of that solution you have given, problem you have given, and the rest half of it you are not given. Ask them to predict what is the next half, and if they are able to come out with the solution, fine. And then once their solution is there, ask them to compare with the solution which is already there. It tell you one thing, it is all qualitative. In a quantitative system, it is okay. In a qualitative system, there will be multiple answers. So I hereby end my presentation. These are some of the canvases on which you can actually work on. Understand what you need to do. What are the various aspects which you can actually come out with. Prepare a competitor matrix. Ask the students to do a competitor matrix. Where you are as compared to your, see, this is your company, this is your institution, how the others are there. You identify the two different variants, what are going to be included there. Based on that, you can project and see how the students will be able to come out with their answers. Thank you very much. I think we have looked at the experiencing part, conceptualizing part, analyzing part, applying part, and all these four parts, how design thinking, pedagogy has to be included, has been given here. I am sure you would definitely benefit out of this particular process. I will forward this PDF across to Dr. Chandrasekar, and that will be with you, and you can also use it as a material for your learning. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request the participants to interact and put forth your queries to Professor.
Please.
Participants, please. You can unmute your mic and ask questions, or you can also type in the chat box.
Also put in the chat box. No problem. See, as I said earlier, design thinking as such is now evolving in India. It's not actually completely practiced. It will take time. Even I think that, you see, look at, I'll tell you one thing, is that in some of the major universities, I request you to, say, for example, you are teaching English, you are teaching management, you are teaching engineering. You go to Harvard University, say, for example, Harvard X, or you can get into Kellogg's. See what is that this which is part of their syllabus, and the syllabus will give you what a person has to learn. That's all. How it is going to be learned is not explained there, and then you will have to go back to the teacher who is involved, and the teacher would actually use design thinking. I said I had a professor who is with Wollongong University in Australia. He says these four quadrants are the basis on which we teach the students. The experiencing part, conceptualizing part, analyzing part, applying part. When it comes to applying part, we ask the students to create case studies. And these case studies are put across to people. And then it is openly available for discussion. Therein, there is a multiple learning which takes place. Sometimes the companies benefit out of it. For example, some of the companies have cut short their processes by virtue of such learning. Some of them, when they came with a product, the package has been altered, and the package has been altered in such a way that it has become much better. Remember, there is something called as Tetra Pak as a company which was invented. When Tetra Pak was invented, nobody said this company is going to be successful. But then now all the drinks, you are talking about carbonated drinks, non-carbonated drinks, and any drink, all these drinks are now coming in the Tetra Paks only. It is in different dimensions that Tetra Paks are there, but it is all coming in Tetra Paks. This company is minting money now. So sometimes it will be before time, sometimes after time. If you are able to come before time, you can actually do better. So that is what ultimately design thinking offers you, and how you can actually utilize it and move forward.
Excuse me, sir. Good
Please.
evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if we are applying these pedagogies inside the classroom, what will be the time constraints, or whether this will increase the time taken for classes, or whether this will be taking the same time, or it will reduce the time taken for classes, sir?
Excellent question, Dr. Jani. The point
Thank
I'm
you,
trying
sir.
to say here is that if you have about 6 modules, okay, that particular paper, the course you talk about it, because the program is your MA English, a paper on what is called, literary criticism. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, literary criticism you are trying to teach. That has 6 modules. Now, of the 6 modules, you have to divide the modules in such a way that some of them are their own learning. The students have to learn and come.
Yes.
Some of them you will teach them to learn. Okay, that is practical teaching you try to. Some of them then comes the 4 quadrants: experiencing, conceptualizing, analyzing, applying.
Okay,
Use
sir.
mechanisms, ask them to go through. Definitely you can complete within your time frame.
Thank you, sir.
Another thing is that you will be a different teacher as compared to others.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good
Ayappan here.
evening. How are you, Ayappan?
Fine, sir. What about you, sir?
Fine. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, design thinking in management education, it's like a two-way process.
Okay.
So we need to get the uh, get the response from the student side only. It will make a huge
I know
success.
where you are coming to. Now, the point I'm trying to say, why case studies could not actually succeed. It is because case study requires students to learn and come. Theoretically, you will give them input. The case they have to read and come and then discuss in the class. It failed in many of the classrooms. Harvard started this, IIMs followed it, and IIMs are successful because the students learn and come and discuss that. But when it comes down to institutions, universities across, because it is not a residential program, students come from different locations. Only a handful of students stay in hostels. Rest all come from the residential, their own houses. The purpose of case study gets defeated. But what happens in design thinking is that you can actually ask the student to, in advance, you can tell them, you can ask them to actually read through and come. The thinking process, you can give them time in the classroom itself. So when the thinking process is there in the classroom, and then reflecting takes place in the classroom, and finally summarizing takes place. So you have to spend that thinking, reflecting, and summarizing part in the classroom only. Then I think this will be successful. Otherwise, the students will not read, they will not come. Clear? What you asked is very relevant.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Karthik here has asked a question. Design thinking is a pre-planned or programmed one. So, is there a possibility of changes according to the one? Is it flexible or possible to change according to the result? See, pre-programmed, I fully agree. That is there. But however, while you start teaching, use design thinking in your classrooms, you yourself will learn how to be flexible in terms of operating using design thinking. So it is not easy. It will take time. The initial stages you will do it, and later on only you realize that. In fact, when the professor at Australia, when about 2 years back, he gave me an idea about this, and he said, "Why don't you try this out in your classrooms?" And I started using, because we get some of the brightest students in our campus. About 1,000 odd people write entrance examination to our department. Only 40 students get selected. So these 40 are really good enough as students. So these students are the people whom you can actually try this design thinking, which I have done. And I feel that students are able to think differently, come out differently, because once we designed this and made it available, initially I had trouble because pre-programmed and planned one, so there was difficulty. But over a period of time, I was able to be flexible with these particular students, and the changes I could actually bring in. And ultimately, when the company started coming to our campus, interacting with the students in the interview, their thinking was absolutely out different, because we have used scenarios. We asked them to come out with the scenario building. We have given them case studies. We have given them what if. We have given them the various concept ideas, all that. So what has happened here? These students are in a better frame to understand, and they were able to come out and give an answer very easily. and the companies are much more interested in taking. So flexibility comes in, but it will take time to change. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor. Actually, it will create source the individuality of the students, I think.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, sir.
Yes. Now, see this ATAL FDP, whatever has been done, and I am really happy that Dr. Chandramohan and Chandrasekar, Dr. Chandrasekar have taken the initiative and running this thing. But I think that has to be implemented by us. Then only I think we will be able to actually do justice to this. In fact, you are going to go through the offline learning, you know, absolutely at ALAGAPPA University, ALAGAPPA Institute. You are going to do the offline learning. Offline learning will allow you to network better, think better, recollect things better, and then come with your solutions. Definitely, you will be able to implement it in your classrooms.
Of course, what you said is correct, Professor. So next week, fully we are having
Going
offline
for offline.
sessions, and almost all the sessions will be practical oriented,
Correct.
like designing their own courses as well as pedagogy.
Correct.
So we have inculcated lots of practical sessions in that. So
Excellent.
there is a question. There's
Yeah. Dr. Ganeshan has asked, no? Management education, we have to cover all units, assignment, and seminar, tour, but we have learned management, but time management. Time management, one of the important aspect, Dr. Ganeshan, is seeing the priority matrix. What is important, what is not important, what you consider as a priority, highest priority, lowest priority, bring them in and then focus on. Definitely you will be able to do it, no doubt about that. But these things are important. Assess the priority matrix, you can do it.
Of course, if for AICD, I do have recommendations like because they have designed. I don't know why they have designed it in the late evening, like 7 to 9:30 and all. And and of course, this is very difficult for all the members to
Agreed.
join.
I fully agree.
Any other participants? Do you have any queries?
I think Dr. Sundari has asked a question. Is design thinking can be practiced only the advanced learners or not the slow learners? No. It can be applied with everybody. That is why I gave you the first exercise. In the first exercise, you will learn what are slow learners, medium learners, fast learners. So you will classify them accordingly. And once you have that, intervene the design thinking practice slowly with these people. Initially, have it with the slow learners. Initially, have it with the homogeneous group. Then make it heterogeneous. Bring them together. Then definitely these people will come into life. And thereby you can actually make slow learners better learners also. No doubt about that. Thank you.
Any other questions from the participants? Okay. We understand that the time is very.
Yeah, it's already 9:15.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you very much for the opportunity, Dr. Chandramohan and Dr. Chandrasekar.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you
Thank
for
you, sir.
inviting me.
Sure, sir. That was a very wonderful session, and you now itself has made a session as a practical one with some exercises and all. So thanks for a lot and joining us in this evening session and spending your time, valuable time. I know how much busy you were, and you were committed with all other activities and responsibilities in your university. So thanks a lot for joining us in this evening session for the FDP, and very sincerely thank you on behalf of the organizers and the coordinator also, sir. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much, and I wish all of them all the best. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Participants, please just a minute, kindly wait. I will also share the feedback link and a few things I would like to share with you. First, let me share the feedback link for you. First thing is, from Monday onwards, we'll be having the offline session at Arapa University, Arapa Institute of Commerce, Institute of Management Campus, ACP campus, opposite to the Alumni Park. And we'll be posting a assessment link today in the WhatsApp group. And that is the assessment for this particular week. I request all of you to complete the assessment before tomorrow night and submit it in the that is in the Google form itself. And it is a timed assessment. This is part of the FDP assessment, continuous assessment only. And next thing is, as I have informed you already, we have lots of practical sessions in the next 1 week. So I will be sharing you two different articles, that is the journal articles, which has been selected and submitted for FDP proposal. And this articles you need to discuss in the class when you are coming up for the next week. And we will also be sharing the template in which you need to prepare the report and submit. Okay. And we'll be forming groups also for group exercises. So I'll form the group, and I will also share those details in the group WhatsApp group. And that is, I'll be forming teams of 5 or 6 people who have been here registered here, and that team has to assess the articles and give their opinion on that in the template which is to be provided. Okay, so all these things we'll also discuss when you are coming offline on Monday. Okay, and I request all of you to be there on 9 o'clock in Monday to be assembled there in the institute for the inauguration, followed by the first session, offline session. Okay. With this, I thank all the participants who have joined here. If you have any queries, you can also put forth. We'll be sharing you the assessment link shortly by tonight, and it will be active till tomorrow night. Any clarifications? Okay, thank you, and we'll meet you all again on Monday.